This is the 287 Coaches Show, brought to you live from 287 Roadhouse in Dumas, Texas. This episode of the 287 Coaches Show is brought to you by these local sponsors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 287 Coaches Show. This is episode number 10, our 10th time to be here. We thank you for watching, thank you for joining us, and those of you that have come out each Monday night, we appreciate you coming out. This is Tuesday. We're off schedule just a little bit because of the volleyball playoffs. And before we jump into the show, I just wanted to let the Blue Cloud followers know a little bit about the way playoff games work. And there may be some times when, a lot of times probably, we won't be able to stream playoff games. It's a different process that we have to go through to apply for permission to stream those games. And it's not like in regular season games where we can have multiple people videoing and streaming of one event. There's only one official live stream broadcast allowed, and the UIL decides who gets to do that. And so we apply, and if we get picked, and we can broadcast. If not, we're just not able to do that. So we apologize if we don't get to show a game, but we're sure trying to get our name in there and show every game we can. So with that said, Zane, how about the stats from the last game here?
All right. There we go.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
And so I guess just the other message to that is go to those playoff games. Show up.
I like that, yes.
Be loud. Be crazy at those games.
Go nuts.
That's right. Well, the Dumas Demons are coming off what I would call one of the biggest wins of the season so far. Daryl, it's kind of funny is when we started broadcasting games, it kind of seemed like the team that we disliked the most was Randall. That's definitely morphed, I think, into we want to beat Canyon every year.
Yeah, it's same school district, just different school.
And
next year it'll be both.
That's right. And maybe even a new little brother, too.
Yes.
So
it's coming. Maybe not next year, but in 3 years.
But for the fifth straight season, the Dumas Demons defeat the Canyon Eagles, this time by a final score of 29-14. Just going to run through the scoring. The Dumas gets on the board first. After a 3-and-out, we're in the punt formation. Emmanuel Banez has an incredible punt where it goes high up into the air, and the Canyon receiver kind of muffs it around the 20-yard line, and it takes a Dumas bounce toward the end zone, and it's just kind of a mad scramble as Dumas has about three guys who are chasing after the ball. The Canyon guy is also running after the ball. It's Parker Cunningham, who is I would say, probably one of the best hands guys on Canyon. And James Bednors wins the race down there and falls on the ball in the end zone. Dumas scores and leads that game 6-0. Less than 2 minutes in. Coach, what does that do setting up the rest of the game for you guys?
That was huge. I mean, just momentum, and our punt team has been really playing well here. Emmanuel has a really strong leg and has really started to do a really great job. He kicked it deep there, really high in the air, which makes it extremely tough to field. I mean, you get it lost up there, of which he hit it and muffed it. And then Cannon Speck, came and Cannon's our snapper. Cannon flew down there, defensive end player for us too, and knocked him off of it, and then James got on it. So it was just a huge momentum swing for us right there. When we stalled out on offense and had to give it back to Canyon, and I just thought it really, really started the momentum in our favor. As you can see with how the rest of the first half went.
Sure, it sets the table for what happens next. So Dumas scores. It was a bad snap on the extra point try. Braden, I think, as he was kind of securing it, had his knee down, and so 6-0. Canyon gets the ball back. Dumas holds to another three. They hold to Canyon to their first 3-and-out, and then so Canyon goes back for their first punt and actually muffs the punt. And I think it ends up being like a 15-yard punt or so, and Dumas going to get the ball about the 38-yard line for their first possession in Canyon territory. A few plays later, Zyrell Mergus scores from 7 yards out. This time, a 2-point conversion run off of the swinging gate. Braden keeps it, runs up the middle, and scores, and Dumas leads 14-0. Coach, this was 8:04 left in the first quarter. Dumas already up 14-0.
Really, anytime that you can get up like that, we knew it was a huge football game, and here we're setting 14-0 with 8 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Was really, really excited about where we were at, but understanding, the fight that we'd be in. We knew that it was going to be a 4-quarter ball game, and so we had to continue, to do the right things, continue to execute. I knew that we were going to be put in some situations defensively where we'd have to answer the call and try to keep them out of the end zone, and so the fight was on for the rest of the first half.
It sure was, and so from that point on until toward the end of the second quarter, it was a little bit of back and forth, but I want to say the majority of the time was played in Canyon territory. We were able to move the ball a few times. We had to punt. But I'm going to talk about our punting in just a second, because I also think that was a major factor in the outcome of the game. Dumas scores again with 29 seconds left in the first half. This time it was a Braden Boggs rushing run around the left side where he scores, dives into the end zone to get the touchdown. This time the 2-point conversion run off the swinging gate. It was hiked straight to James Bednors on the left side, and he runs in behind the wall, and Dumas leads 22-0. Coach, it seemed like at that point that everything was just going really well, almost to script for Dumas.
It was definitely going our way, and I don't know if I would have planned it that way. I mean, I thought it was going to be a really, really tough game. But anytime you can jump out 22-0, I felt really good, especially the way that our defense was playing. I knew that it would still, we'd still have to play a really, really tough second half, because I knew that, Canyon was just too good of a football team, to not to. And so, but again, we were playing really, really well on the defensive side of the football at that time, and 22-0 going in at halftime. Was really pleased with the way that our football team started.
Definitely so. Well, Canyon gets the ball first in the second half, and they do drive down out of the halftime, and Derek Clemens ends up scoring on a 1-yard run. They go for 2, and Braden Boggs rushing makes a play to knock a pass away on a guy that was open in the corner of the end zone to save that, and it keeps the score 22-6.
He was open, and again, just shows the fight of Braden. You see it on both sides of the football. It's never done with that kid, and a kid got back behind us and was open. The quarterback just didn't. I just don't think he understood, the effort that he was going to get from number 6, and so Braden did a really good job jumping up, batting it down, keeping him out of the end zone. And I believe that touchdown was on 4th down.
I think it was.
We had held them, and they finally get in during 4th down. So we wanted to hold them out there, but at the same time, there was a lot of time you run off the clock in order to get that 6 points. And so I was really proud of the way that our defense stood up down there and continued to fight on, inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, and I think, and Daryl, you can maybe ask about this later, I think that kind of set a little bit of a tone, or at least put some doubt in the mind of Canyon of being able to get yardage on a short situation. I think they had 1st and goal, like maybe on the 4 or the 3.
I think
It
so.
still took them those 4 plays to score.
I think they started there on the 4. They had 1st and goal, and I think they made 2, and then they lost a yard, and then they got up to the 1, and actually between the 1 and the goal line.
Yeah, it was right on the goal line.
And it was still a close call getting in.
It was a quarterback sneak, or just a quarterback keeper right up the middle, and we just got a little bit tall on the defensive line, and they rooted us out a little bit, but it was a close call. I wasn't sure if it was in or if it wasn't. So really, really proud of our defense, at least to stand up down there on the goal line and make them work for everything that they got.
Sure. Well, that's what Canyon does out of the half. Now, we get the ball right back, and in about 2.5 minutes, we drive down the field and scored. This time, it was a Braden Boggs rushing run from 28 yards out. Again, we're going to watch this on the replays in a little bit, but one of the best runs that you're going to see from a quarterback as he was kind of weaving in and out of traffic, and it was not off to the sideline. He wasn't running. He was running up the middle of the field, just kind of weaving through, seeing his way. And it's just something that Braden's able to do. His athletic ability is just kind of wild.
It is, and when you talk about that, we started off early, talking about jumping out 22-0, knowing that it was going to be a ball game, it was going to be a fight. Canyon comes out the second half, drives it right down and scores, and I knew momentum was going to be big. At that time, Canyon had actually grabbed the momentum a little bit, and I thought it was huge for our offense to take it right back down and score. Because in my opinion, I looked at that as a wash. I looked at it like they hadn't even scored there at that time, because we still had our, our 22-point lead at that time with some time that had moved off of the clock there in the second half. And, and so we're basically down to maybe a quarter to a quarter and a half, and we've got to continue to play in order to get the win, because that's at that point, that's all that I wanted.
Well, after this score, we set up and line up for the extra point and get the extra point. It makes it a 23-point ball game, 29-6, and that's with 7:15 left in the third quarter. And I think Canyon gets the ball next, and I think this is when they went on. It was like I want to say close to 6.5-minute drive. Dumas is able to hold them and stop them on a 4th down play, and I think this time it was maybe Hunter Coley.
It was
tipping a pass away, and seeing kind of that long drive and seeing the Demons be able to hold them inside the red zone, stop them on the 4th down play. It kind of felt, even though it was not close to being over at that point, it felt like this was going to be a good night for the Demons, seeing that stop there.
I think so. I mean, because momentum's really big, and I think at that time Canyon had marched back down, and used a lot of the time to get down there, and then we held them, on 4th down inside our, I don't know, maybe 3-4 yard line, and I thought that was huge, because I think that really took some wind out of Canyon's sail a little bit, and gave the ball back to our offense, and again at that, I didn't think it was over, but I was feeling pretty good about the way we were playing, and with that lead that we had with that much time left in the ball game.
For sure. Well, Canyon does get the ball back in the 4th quarter, and they get a touchdown called for them in the 4th quarter with 9:22 left. We're not going to really talk about that tonight, but the final score ends up being 29-14. From that, kind of after Canyon scored that touchdown with 9 minutes left, I thought Dumas did a good job both ways of, for one, taking time off on offense, moving the ball when we needed to. I think, did we end up missing a field goal?
We did miss a field goal, and we actually turned the ball over twice.
Okay, yeah.
And those are some things that I talked about. I mean, if I was upset with anything, I talked to our kids, about closing a ball game out.
Sure.
I think that's very, very important. Just the further that we go and the teams continue to get better and better and better as we move into, finish this district play and move into playoffs, I think it's very important that we learn how to close ball games out, and we didn't there at the end. We continued to give the ball back to Canyon and give them opportunities and possibly at life. And, you score another touchdown right there, and then they had shown too to do onsides and those different things, and you really make it really scary. And
sure.
So I really talked after the game about our offense needing to control the football and not giving it back to them, giving another opportunity.
Well, taking a look at the team stats, Dumas finishes with 300 total yards offense on the night versus 265 from Canyon. Canyon does run 69 plays on the night. Dumas runs 56. Canyon 3.8 per snap. Dumas 5.4 yards per snap. 5.4 yards per snap. That's going to do well most evenings.
Without a doubt, and I think Braden had 124 yards rushing, and he just did a great job. Leading our football team. We weren't perfect by any means, but did control the clock and really did a great job of executing our offense and putting us in a good position to win the game.
Well, I think one of the things that this also shows by the number of plays that Canyon ran with being able to hold them to only 265 yards, I thought one of the things that the defense did well in this game was not allowing those big plays.
Agree. We did eliminate the big play, and I just I think that's a whole group effort. I could point the finger a lot of different directions on that defense. I think we're really, starting to cover really well, play really good, just keeping things in front of us, not letting them get behind us. Our D-line is really doing a great job pressuring the quarterback. A lot of times from a three-man pressure, which allows us to get our backers out and underneath coverage, and allows our secondary to have some confidence too. So really proud of the way that we're playing. And when we did give them up other opportunities, our defense really just came out and made sure that was not that the momentum didn't swing, and that we continued to hold the lead that we had.
We talk about the pressure of the defensive line and the play of the secondary. Canyon quarterback was 10 of 31 passing on the night for only 153 yards. I thought that the defensive secondary linebackers that were in coverage just did a stellar job.
I agree. I just don't think it just didn't appear that he was ever real comfortable in the pocket. We made him move. We had him get out, outside the pocket, and every time that he did that, he wasn't real successful throwing the ball down the field. And so a great group effort of our D-line, and really good job by our secondary.
On the other side, Braden Boggs rushing was 6 of 12 passing, had 90 yards passing. It was almost a pass out of necessity top for Dumas.
It was.
And Dumas runs the ball in the evening 44 times for 210 yards. And so, again, it was kind of using Braden in a different way. And even though he's the quarterback and he's capable of getting the ball to receivers, it just wasn't needed on a night like this.
It wasn't, and he had 24 carries. I mean, I think that's pretty high.
That is.
I really do, and so I'm not necessarily sure that that's the approach that we have to take each night. But whatever it takes, I think he's prepared for that and he's ready for it. He's a very, he's a very conditioned athlete. Really, never saw him, conditioning was never an issue. He played every snap on defense, really led our offense, and I'm really proud of that kid. He's just a super leader, and a kid that our kids really look up to and really like him running our offense.
It's funny. I was looking, I think, at his Twitter handle today, and I think it's BBR Baller.
It is.
And Baller is a good nickname for him because that's just who he is.
It is, and that's what he's doing right now. He's he hadn't been playing quarterback all season long, but he's up for the challenge. He's ready for it, and he'll prepare himself to do whatever it takes to give us a shot to win.
So I know that y'all take pride in this. Dumas outrushes Canyon 210 to 112, and the offensive line does a good job of just opening up holes, and Braden and James and Cyrell, I felt like all had good nights, and to hold Canyon to 112 yards rushing, after they had a guy that ran for over 300 yards, and then the quarterback ran for like 180 the week before.
He did, and so it was a tall task. We knew it was going to be tough, and our defense did a great job. Just stood up and stopped the run game. And then, as you talk about Braden and our two running backs, I think they just all complement each other really well. Braden carried the football 24 times. Cyrell and James were having to block a lot of those times for him, and just selfless kids that just really, do whatever it takes for us to win, and whatever that is. If it's carrying the football for touchdowns or it's blocking for their teammates, they really do a great job of that.
Well, this is going to be I think one of the key stats, but this is also, I think, the most that we've had in a while that I can remember, Dumas had 7 sacks on the night.
It is a lot. I agree. Probably the most sacks we've had in a season up to this point. I think Jaden has something like 9 sacks. I think Cannon has 6. I think Sabian has 6. And so we're just doing a really, really good job of pressuring the quarterback, and it's definitely allowing us, some of our youth on our defense, it's allowing them to grow up and really get some confidence. And I think you're starting to see that by the way that we're playing on defense right now.
For sure. Dumas holds Canyon, I think the other key stat to the game, 3 of 15 on third down conversions.
Huge. Third down is a big down for us defensively. We talk about it, and I think if you see that stat, get up around 40 or 50%. I mean, you're going to struggle on defense.
Sure.
And we did early in the season. That was something that we talked about every single week. We couldn't get off the field on third down. We continue to allow offense to stay on the field, have big plays, of which we struggle with that. And so it's something that we're doing a lot better. And you can see by the way that we're playing, it definitely helps us.
For sure. Well, I want to run through just real quick the individual stats for the game. Braden Boggs rushing, we said 6 of 12 passing for 90 yards. He also rushed the ball, as Coach said, for 24 times for 126 yards, averages 5.3 yards per carry, and had 2 rushing touchdowns. James Bednore's 14 carries on the night for 66 yards. He averages 4.7 per carry. Zyrel Merga, 5 carries for 19 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. He also had a touchdown. Receiving the ball, James Bednore is the leading receiver on the night. He had 2 catches for 33 yards, averaged 16.5 yards per catch, and we're going to see one of those catches in the highlights. Well, maybe both of them, but both of his catches just seem to come at big times.
They did, and he's doing a really good job. Just out of the backfield, whether he's running or he's catching the football, and we'll just continue to see that as we get Braden out of the back, rolling out a little bit, and something he's a little bit more familiar with, and has some success. That was just some really big catches, and we're going to have to continue. Our receivers are going to have to continue, to catch the ball down the field. We had a couple of misses, and I think that's huge, because as we are working with the new quarterback, that's big to give him the confidence that he needs to continue to run our offense. He doesn't think that he has to do it all, on the ground and with his legs.
Sure. Zyrel Merga, 1 catch for 21. Oliver Ortiz had 1 catch for 19, but he also, as you were saying, he dropped a touchdown.
He did. It was he was in, and you could tell it hurt him.
Oh, sure.
And we're just we're just going to have to make those plays, and I think we will. We'll continue to to throw those, and it's going to allow some confidence with Braden, give him some confidence
sure.
as throwing the football. So.
And even have the confidence. I mean, the play was there. Braden made the play.
It was.
And Oliver knew.
He did.
He was tasting the end zone because I think I looked at a video, or maybe it was a picture, where he had separation on that guy.
He did. I think he just took his eye. I think he started looking at the end zone,
yeah.
Honestly. I think he was thinking about scoring before he caught the football.
Yeah.
So.
Tootie Flores had a catch for 10 yards, and also Andres Perez, 1 catch for 7 yards. And then it gets into the defense, and these guys just had a stellar night. One of the guys leading tackle on the night was Aurelio Madrano. He's kind of had to step up, and he has filled that role. He had 2 sacks on the night, but also led the team with nine tackles.
Doing a great job. He's got the guy beside him, that's down and out right now. And so he's definitely got to pick up his play as he continues to lead our defense, and he's doing a great job with that. I think there's a lot of guys, that are leading into that. Our defense is really doing a good job controlling the line of scrimmage, allowing our linebackers to run and make plays. And so, just really a lot of the credit goes to our D-line allowing Aurelio to run around and do the things that he's doing.
For sure. Hunter Coley and Parker Dunham, both of those guys with 7 tackles on the night. Brian Rangel with 6 tackles. Jaden Jar, again, Jaden Jar and Cannon Speck, both those guys just seem to be causing problems all night on either side. Jaden with 5 tackles and a sack. Cannon with 4 tackles and a sack. Then you've got Braden Boggs rushing. He had 4 tackles of his own with a sack and 2 tackles for loss. So, again, he was back there causing problems. Tanner Cohen with 3 tackles. Emmanuel Banyas, 3 tackles with a tackle for loss. Sabian Perry with a couple tackles and a sack. Hector Pondo with a couple tackles. Arnaldo Hernandez with 2 tackles and a sack. And then had Jess Philly also with the tackle on the night. And so this is my thought. and I'm a big Tom homer. But
No. Are you really?
I am.
I think I'm the only objective one up there.
But I see the way that our defense has played in district play, and I sent you this, I think, on either Saturday night or Sunday when I was looking at the stats, that in district play our defense is causing other teams to have inconsistent plays 80% of the time. That's incredible.
That's huge. And I can see it. We're going to have to continue to do that, but I really think our defense is playing with a lot of confidence right now. We really are. I think that's a team thing as well. I think our offense is doing a good job of controlling the clock right now and allowing us to do that. But really, really proud of the way that we're playing on defense. And we're going to have to continue to. We're going to have to, because that's I believe in playing great defense. If we're going to win in championships, we're going to have to do that.
Well, there was two other guys that I want to mention on the night, and I think that this was, again, we kind of mentioned was one of the keys to Dumas being successful on the night. Manuel Banez had 4 punts on the night. He averaged 50 yards a punt, but also had 2 punts that landed inside the 20, one of them that landed inside the 10. The other guy, Braden Boggs rushing, if he didn't have a good enough night on offense, if he didn't have a good enough night on defense, he also punted the ball twice, and both of his punts landed inside the 10-yard line.
I think that was huge for us. We were playing good defense, and so that was the whole idea at that time. When we did do those 2 quick kicks, was just to pin them deep, let our defense get in there and do what they'd been doing. And so I just didn't want to give them any momentum. It wasn't lack of confidence in our offense. I thought we probably could have made that 4th down play, but our defense was playing really well right now, and I wanted to just punt it, make them drive a long field, of which they didn't do. And so really, really proud of the way our special teams are playing right now. They're really setting us up for a whole lot of success, and we're going to have to play on all 3 phases of the game. We spend a lot of time on special teams, a lot of effort. Coach Scott and Coach Hernandez are our 2 special teams coordinators, and really, really proud of the efforts they've done, on preparing our kids and getting them all bought in and performing the way that they're performing on special teams.
Yeah, so this is the way that I put it to the guys after the game. We had 6 punts on the night. 4 of those ended up inside the 20-yard line. One of them we recovered for a touchdown, and the other one we pinned them. I think it was like they went down the 35-yard line. So every punt that we had was just like, all right.
I like to play defense behind that.
Yeah,
I do.
for sure.
I do, so.
I think it was a major factor in the game.
I agree.
I think we've got some highlights that we want to get to, and then let's look at the highlights, and then I guess we can take a break.
Sure. All right.
Here's what we were talking about.
Yeah, tell me which coach this is that's jumping. I don't know if
Probably
this is
Coach
you.
Hernandez.
Oh, it's Hernandez?
Probably Coach
Okay.
Hernandez. I'm just telling you.
I mean,
Kennan did a great job knocking him off.
he did.
The guy that comes right here, that's Coach Mo. That's Coach Mo.
Okay,
And
now
there
who's
comes
that?
Coach Hernandez.
Okay. I think they enjoyed that.
I think you can see a lot of that on our entire sideline. So, again, getting him out of the pocket right here. Sabian Perry comes up, makes a play, but our D-line just pressuring and really making him, not real comfortable sitting inside the pocket. Talking about blocking right there. Look at James Bednor's fill in there for Braden and really open up the hole. Give Braden some room to run the football. Zyrell Murga makes a really good play right here, gets in the end zone. Again, our offensive line just really creating holes and really starting to block really well.
This looks like Aaron Dunham Jr., but I think we call him Parker.
That's Parker. Parker's doing a really good job there in the box. He's really starting to tackle really well and come down and make some plays. That was a big tackle versus a really, really good tailback, and there was a hole there, and so we had to get in there and make that play. Here's our, guy that we're talking about a lot. Here he is on the defense side of the ball. That's a tackle for loss. Super tackle. Braden, really good job right there. Here's Braden and Aurelio. Again, just running, getting him outside the pocket. Braden does a good job getting over there. Aurelio Madrano, another one pressuring the quarterback. Just saw that all night by our guys. Again, another quarterback run here with Braden. Just doing a great job with his eyes, keeping them downfield, keeping the ball alive, cuts it back. Whole defensive performance. D-line just doing a great job. Linebackers getting there. There's Braden. I think the other one was Jaden. James Bednore's out of the backfield. We talked about it. Again, great job by Braden keeping the play alive. Eyes down the field, continuing to scramble. And James just yards after contact always. Never going to go down on the first hit. This was huge. Flushed him out of the pocket. When you get him out there, I think that's where he really, really does some of his best things. Reaching out, hits the pylon. Just a great, great effort play to put us up right there. And then here he is again on the defensive side. We talked about this earlier. 17 gets open right there behind us. Braden does a great job jumping up, batting the ball down. Again, it's just it's never over. He's a kid that plays with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. Zyrell, really good catch out of the backfield. That was some of the stuff we were doing that was really successful for us on Friday night. Braden again. Just over and over and over again. James fits in there and blocks extremely well for him. Braden just not going to be denied. Finds a way to get in the end zone. Just really, really excited about that.
And Jace Harris making a good block downfield.
Sure.
Those are two things that I was going to highlight.
Totally agree with you. Cannon Speck, again, pressure on the quarterback. Something you saw all night. Really good coverage play here by Hunter. Run a little whip route. Does a great job playing underneath that, making a play. That was the fourth down stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
So really good. Here's Nono, our nose guard, making a sack there. Everybody's getting in on it.
That's a coverage. That
It was.
coverage helped on that one.
Sure. And you can just see his eyes. He's not allowed to keep his eyes downfield because we're just bringing, our kids are just doing such a good job pressuring him. Sabian Perry runs him out of the pocket. Aurelio Madrano gets over there and makes a play. Again, huge play. A lot of frustration there. So that's fun. That's fun to watch.
That is. It's enjoyable.
All right, you guys want to take a quick break and then come back?
Yeah, that sounds good.
This is the 287 Coaches Show, brought to you live from 287 Roadhouse in Dumas, Texas. This episode of the 287 Coaches Show is brought to you by these local sponsors.
Welcome back to the 287 Coaches Show. Daryl, you got to talk a little bit about the upcoming game here.
Yeah, well, let's just move on to the upcoming game. You've covered every question I had in my mind on this past week. But let's talk about Pampa for a minute. They lose 75-60 to Canyon 2 weeks ago, and everyone's thinking offensive explosion, and then they go down and play a team that we beat 45-0, and then Hereford somehow gets on top of Pampa. So all of that is mysterious to me. And so I always go to the guru himself, Coach Dunham, and see if he can explain the mystery.
It's a little bit of a mystery to me as well, but, I would probably, the biggest part of that is just their inconsistency, with that. They've had a lot of kids in and out. They've had some injuries. They've had some kids out. They've had to replace them. Then that kid gets hurt. And so, it's a little bit unfortunate, I believe, in Pampa's defense there is that, they're trying to work through this all, a new defense coordinator, a new head football coach, and they're also juggling around, some injuries, and they're not playing the same kids each and every week. And I think that's something that has really caused them some issues here in district play because they're still sitting at 6-3. They've won a lot of football games this year and done a lot of really good things on offense and on defense. And so, I think that's the biggest issue right now is just, being able to get consistency with who they're having to play each and every week due to some injuries.
Well, they've demonstrated that they're somewhat explosive on offense. I mean, you have a good offense if you score 60 points against Canyon.
Sure.
And you have a good offense if you score 59 points against anyone, and they did that against Big Spring. So they've got some talent on offense.
They have a lot of talent, and bring a lot of kids back from last year. I think 7 kids on the offense side of the football are back from a football team that I thought was pretty good last year. And they run 2 tailbacks back there that are very, very explosive. Their quarterback does a good job running their offense. He's the same guy that was with them last year, and so they're extremely explosive. They've got a lot of talent. They've got some really, really good tailbacks. Their offensive line, I think, has been doing a really, really good job. And just as you stated, if you can score 57 points on somebody and you can score 60 points on Canyon, we're going to have to be ready. We're going to have to be, have our game face on, and we're going to have to be extremely locked in because it's at Pampa. I believe it's senior night for them, and so they've got a lot on the line, a lot of tradition there at Pampa and a lot of history, and so they're going to be ready to play. I know that Coach Rob will have them ready to play, and so we're going to have to make sure that we bring our A game and we're ready to go.
Well, I noticed I didn't see much of the Hereford-Pampa game, but I watched a good portion of the Pampa-Canyon game, and what amazed me was how many trick plays Pampa has in their playbook, and then they'll come out in some really goofy formations. They'll all line up behind the center, all 11, or they'll come out in the swinging gate on the midfield stripe. Mm-hmm. So, and then they'll run trick plays. So, what do you do defensively to get ready for some of the possible things they're going to throw at you?
Definitely you work it. We're going to be working it all week long. It's something that you drill, and it's something that you talk about. Communication is huge. I believe every formation we've seen before, with us playing the single wing, with us playing the wing T, we're able to adjust to all these different looks. And that's how we're going to have to. We're going to have to communicate. They do a good job of motion, and they get in different formations by motion, and that just creates communication. And I think all the trick plays, it's just your vision has to be big. You can't, if you get tunnel vision, you get locked in on just what's in front of you. Things are happening coming out of the backfield, and I think it's just very important that you understand what's going on, and you can see those trick plays coming if you keep your vision large. And our kids are just going to have to do that. That's something that's going to be put on our kids, and it's our job, just repetition throughout the week, to get our kids ready for that.
Well, when you look at them offensively, from what I've seen, they're fairly balanced. I think sometimes they lean toward the passing side, but they do have 2 really good tailbacks, so they have the ability to run. So I know it's kind of a chess match getting ready for the game. So what is it that you anticipate that you really need to shut down to force them maybe into another area?
I think they're running the ball more than we've seen a Pampa team run in a long time. With Coach Pointer there in the past, they were the team that really liked to throw the ball down the field. They still will do that, but they are definitely running the football more, in and out of 2-backs, 3-back sets. So we're definitely going to have to, we're always going to gear to stop the run game. This will be no different. We've got to be able to do that. If we can make them one-dimensional, we like our chances, and so that's something that's not going to change. We talk about that each week, and they do a really good job of running it. And so we're going to have to be really prepared and come focused and ready to play.
Well, let's talk about Canyon's defense for a moment, because in the last 2 games, they've given up probably as many points as you've given up the last 2 years. They gave up 75 to Canyon, and then I think 50. I can't remember if it's 53 or 56 to Hereford. So I know they're probably struggling defensively, but basically they start at a 3-4. But this last week you said they brought down a 4th lineman.
They did. They were in and out of a 3-4 into a 4-man front this last week, and they've been into a little bit of a 3-3 stack. And so we're going to have to be prepared. We've seen 4-man fronts all year long. We've seen 3-man fronts, and that's just that's something that we're going to prepare for either way. And again, I don't know. As they continue to try to work on defense, I'm not for sure exactly how they're going to attack this and what they're going to do. We're just going to have to be prepared. And we've got an offensive system and a scheme that we can handle any front that comes at us. And if we're doing a good job with our rules and making our checks and giving our linemen time to make those calls, and then we're just going to, as the game progresses, as we see them, we're going to have to do a good job as a coaching staff on recognizing what's going on and being able to, to make plays on that.
Well, another question I have concerns special teams, because your special teams have just been playing lights out the last 4 games. And I know that Pampa gave up a couple of onside kicks, maybe a little what I'd call a pooch kick just up in the air to Canyon, and they did the same thing against Hereford. So does that cause y'all to rethink maybe a few things that you might want to try to do when you're kicking off to them?
I think you definitely look at it. I mean, anytime you look at film and you find that you believe that you maybe have some weaknesses or you have some numbers or something you can take advantage of, I definitely think that it's something that we need to look at. We've pooched the ball before. That's all that was. Was just a sideline pooch over there. We've done that, and so they've seen us do it on film. We've kicked it deep as well. I think you just got to make sure that I think how the game's going determines a lot of that. Mm-hmm. I like to kick it deep and put our defense in a good situation, make Pampa drive the football field. Anytime that you decide you want to take a pooch, you're going to take a chance of defending a lot less field. And so
sure.
I think that as the game progresses and wherever we're at in the game also determines how we kick the ball off.
And you've told me this earlier, but when you look at your film, and just like Pampa's looked at their film, when they see some areas that have hurt them, they're going to work extra hard this week. Just like if you found areas that were hurting you, y'all would work extra hard this week in trying to do that. So sometimes that kind of determines what you do as well.
It does. I mean, they'll make some adjustments. They'll put some kids there that they feel really comfortable and that have a really, a good track record of catching the football, somebody with good hands. And so you just got to evaluate that. You got to look over there and see who they have and then just determine that as the game goes.
Well, Coach, it's going to be for the 5th or 17, 18, 19, 20, the 5th straight undefeated district season. So you've already clinched the district championship. You've already clinched the first seed in the playoff. But I know that for motivation, and I'm not sure your kids need any motivation. They're all competitors. But to go out there and say, hey, let's lift the trophy as the undisputed district champion is probably something y'all are shooting for.
Sure, that's definitely on the line, and that's something that that's going to keep our kids motivated and playing. But we really, really try to focus on that. It's just the next game. It's the next opponent. And we need to go out and play well as we start to prepare for the playoffs. I think it's really, really important for our momentum as we move throughout this is that we feel really good about where we're at right now. We feel good about our offense, defense, special teams, and we're starting to play with a lot of confidence. And so that's really what's on the table is just another opportunity for our kids to come out, and install a game plan and them to come out and execute that game plan. That's really something that our coaching staff and our kids have really enjoyed doing. Every time we come in Monday and we put a new game plan in front of them, it's really something internal that's in us about locking in and getting that figured out and then being able to go out and execute it. It's a really good feeling.
Well, my final, this is kind of a comment/question, is it's easy to see the progress develop from game 1 against Wichita Falls Rider, Lubbock Estacada, then Plainview, then Randall, then we had that week off. And you can just see the progress both defense and offense have made. In those first 4 games, you gave up close to a little over 100 points. But in the last 4 games, you've only given up 12 points, and then you had a help on another 8 points to make a total of – you've only given up 20 points on defense. So you can really see the progress there, and that has to make you and your coaches, when you look at that, say, we're peaking at the right time. We're getting better, and at no point since that fourth game have you made a turnaround yet.
I agree, and I actually saw a stat today that in our first 4 games we allowed 117 points. That's 29.3 points a game. In the last 4 games, we've only allowed 20 points, which is 5 points per game. And so we're starting to really, really play some good defense. We're really starting to progress, and you have to. That's what you want in a team right now. We don't want to peak too early. I don't think we're anywhere near that. But we're really, really starting to gain some momentum, gain some strength, and really that's what's on the line Friday night is just another opportunity to take another step forward, and that's what we're focusing on. We believe if we can take a step forward, we can play really, really good football the way that lives up to our standards, that we'll get everything that we want. We'll get that 5th undefeated district championship, and we'll prepare ourselves and get ourselves ready to start the playoffs.
I'm the numbers guy. I'm a stats guy, and I think it's important for the Dumas Demon fans to understand like what's been happening over these last 5 years or so. Friday night was the 18th district win in a row. This is crazy to think about. But the last loss in district play was November the 4th in 2016 to Amarillo High at Dick Bivens Stadium.
Remember it.
5 years ago, you've got some sophomores on your team that were in 5th grade that year. The win at home was the 15th district win in a row at home. The last loss at home was
2015, the last district loss.
Yeah, October the 9th, 2015.
Canyon.
And that was against Canyon.
I do remember that.
And so, again, you take another step back. So they were in 4th grade. Those sophomores were in 4th grade then. And there was the 5th straight win over Canyon. The 7th year in a row to make the playoffs this year. And so from 2015 to 2021, that ties the longest streak in school history.
Wow.
From 1961 to 1967.
Wow.
So I think that gives credit to a bunch of guys that have had a hand in building this program up to what it is. And, you kind of feel that, or at least I felt it, and just kind of after I got home, just sat in my chair and thought about, man, because I don't even know the last. We haven't missed a football game in 18 years. We've seen Dumas play every game 18 years in a row, and just think about the years that we've gone through, but especially these last 7 years of seeing this success build on itself, and seeing the pride that those guys take in putting that uniform on Friday night and preparing and focusing and then executing and being able to do that successfully 18 times in a row right now. But not just that, it's the 5 seasons that they've been able to do that, because every year you've got a brand new team of coming in. And even though you might have some experience of guys coming back, it's a brand new team.
It is.
Got to make sure that things work together and guys do the right things. And to be able to do that 5 straight seasons, I went back and tried to find in 4A and 5A in the upper classifications in the Panhandle, it's not matched. It just hasn't been matched. There hasn't been a team that's been able to have that type of consistency of year after year, being able to put this undefeated district record on the line. I mean, we've seen Canadian do it, and to just kind of unreal amount, but that came to an end on Friday night.
It did.
And so the Dumas Demons right now have the longest district winning streak in the Panhandle.
Yep.
Love it. Love it.
It's good to have, isn't it?
It is. I really love it.
And so what that all builds toward is Friday night looking to go for the 5th straight undefeated district championship.
It is, and we're going to have to come with our A game. I talked to our kids. I mean, Pampa's going to be excited. They've got a lot to play for as well. Again, very, very storied, very historic program. They've done a really good job there at Pampa, and so we got to go into their turf. It's going to be a really big football game, but again, something that we're really, really excited about and we're looking forward to playing.
I can't wait.
I can't either. It's going to be fun.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and join us next Monday night, 287 Roadhouse here. And again on the streaming, just be prepared that Blue Cloud may not be there on every single game you see volleyball. We're working right now to try to get approval to do the upcoming Saturday volleyball game. Not sure yet whether that's going to happen or not. And Pampa, for the football game, will be, as far as we know, our last live stream for the football games. We'll try going forward from there in the playoff games to see if we can get any of those games, but it's just a whole different set of rules and regulations and a lot of different circumstances that play into that. So just so everybody knows, we're definitely here to try to continue to cover it, and we'll continue to do this program. And so going forward in the playoff games,
we're going to be doing it through mid-December.
That's right.
Or toward the end of December.
I'm not
for sure.
busy at Thanksgiving week and that week before Christmas. I'm not busy.
I'm not either.
So let's just go all the way.
I've got everything on my schedule on hold
Me
through
too.
Christmas.
Me
so.
too.
That's right.
well, I think we booked them to episode 15, so we were
Okay.
20, something like that. So we got plenty of room to continue here at 287. They've got the welcome mat rolled out for us. So.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank everyone for watching and listening, and we will see you next week.
This is the 287 Coaches Show, brought to you live from 287 Roadhouse in Dumas, Texas. This episode of the 287 Coaches Show is brought to you by these local sponsors.